Controls for the flight deck lights are located on the overhead panel and the left and right sides of the glare shield. The aisle stand panel floodlight control is located on the overhead panel. The inner control regulates the brightness of the aisle stand floodlight. The outer control regulates the brightness of the aisle stand panel lights. Controls for storm circuit breaker, glare shield, and dome lights are located on the left overhead panel. The dome light control regulates the two overhead dome lights. The circuit breaker overhead panel lights control regulates the brightness of the circuit breaker panel and the overhead panel. The inner control of the glare shield panel floodlight control regulates the glare shield floodlights. The outer control regulates the glare shield panel lights. The storm light switch overrides normal controls and illuminates the following lights at maximum brightness: the captain and first officer panel lights, the glare shield lights, the aisle stand floodlights, and dome lights. The indicator lights switch is located on the lower right side of the overhead panel. In the bright position, all annunciator lights are set to full brightness. The dim position sets all illuminated annunciator lights to a lower level for night operations. When the switch is held in the test position, all indicator lights illuminate at full brightness for 10 seconds. The lights then dim for as long as the switch is held. Additional light controls are located on the glare shield. The inner portion of the captain's panel light control regulates the floodlights over the captain's panel and the center panel. The outer portion of the captain's panel light control regulates the captain's main panel, left side of the center panel, and the captain's sidewall panel lighting. The inner portion of the first officer's panel light control regulates the floodlights over the first officer's panel. The outer portion of the first officer's panel light control regulates the first officer's main panel lights, the right side of the center panel, and the first officer's sidewall panel lights. To operate the captain's and first officer's map lights, the controls are first pulled out and then rotated to change the brightness. The map lights swivel and can be positioned manually. Rotating the map light bezel changes the size of the area illuminated. These are the outboard-inboard CRT brightness controls. These controls adjust the brightness of the displays. The outboard control adjusts the brightness of the outboard display. The inner portion of the control adjusts the brightness of the weather radar images when the weather radar is displayed. The outer portion of the inboard CRT brightness control adjusts the brightness of the inboard display. The first officer has identical controls. The upper and lower ICAS brightness controls are located above the upper display. The upper brightness control adjusts the brightness of the upper display. The inner portion of the control adjusts the brightness of the weather radar images if the ND is displayed on the lower ICAS with weather radar on. The outer portion of the lower CRT brightness control adjusts the brightness of the lower display. Light sensors located on the lower right corner of each display and a remote light sensor located above the glare shield provide automatic control of brightness of each display as ambient light conditions change. Utility lights are located outboard of the captain's and first officer's seat on the sidewall. The utility light can be turned on by using the momentary switch on the brightness control. The momentary on switch illuminates the light momentarily. Brightness can be regulated by rotating the brightness control. If normal electrical power is lost, standby power is provided for the dome lights, floodlights, and standby instrument lighting. Internal panel lighting is also provided for the panels and CRTs, which are powered by the electrical standby buses. Control for the flight deck access lights is located on the overhead maintenance panel. When activated, it illuminates the entry or exit path to or from the flight deck. It activates the main equipment center lights, left sidewall light forward of door 1 left, threshold light door 1 left, upper deck light above the crew access ladder, and the upper deck dome lights. Additional access light switches are located at main deck door 1 left, right upper deck service door, upper deck cabin services module, and the main equipment center lower hatch. The switches are active when the ground handling bus is powered. If you want to operate interior lights, touch your selection or touch the forward arrow to continue. Now operate the controls. If you want to operate interior lights, touch your selection or touch the forward arrow to continue. Now operate the controls. If you want to operate interior lights, touch your selection or touch the forward arrow to continue. Now operate the controls. If you want to operate interior lights, touch your selection or touch the forward arrow to continue.